So I'll,
Welcome, guys, to Recovered Life. It is Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, June 12th. Welcome, everybody. I've got the Recovered Life panel up here. We've got more people that are going to be joining us. If you're a Recovered Life Plus subscriber, like the gents on stage, the ladies and gentlemen on stage, or you're a subscriber here on TikTok, I'd love to bring you up. Just go ahead and hit the guest button. I'll bring you up to do it. We've got a great topic tonight. I got to tell you, right now, the world's kind of a crazy place, and everybody is talking about fear. Everybody's having a little fear. And if you're not, thank God. Thank God if you're not having some fear. That's what that is what I say. Okay, I'm bringing the last of people. If you're a Recovered Life Plus subscriber, Steph, let's get you up here. Care Bear, if you want to come up. Dizzy, I know you are. Come on up. Abby, I'll bring you up if you want. Anybody else, go ahead and put me on here. And I'm going to be looking at the chat as we go. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you for all the people who are joining us here. We're just going to kick this off. This month we've been talking about a lot of things. And I thought it would be good to have one on fear. So the topic tonight and how this goes is we just kind of go round robin here a little bit. Tonight, we're going to be talking about facing fear without numbing out. And, in recovery, and, whether you are in addiction recovery from addiction with a substance, or you are in here because you're in recovery from a mental health issue, or all the above, or codependency, any kind of process addiction, any kind of mental health thing, that's what we talk about here on Recovered Life. So tonight it's facing fear. And, I just want to say something really up front. A lot of the times I want to bust the myth here that courage means fearlessness. Like a lot of the times we see people and we're like, oh man, they must be fearless. But a lot of people walk through things and have fear and do it anyway. So I'd like to welcome the panel here. If you are, again, a Recovered Life Plus subscriber, we will bring you up. You will also get this as a replay on Recovered Life TV. We really appreciate it if you, smash the like button, touch it until you get carpal tunnel in here, a little bling. It always helps us out here. Welcome to everybody also who's joining us on Facebook, Recovered Life TV on the Substack app, and also everybody who is joining us on YouTube. We'll also be putting comments. So if you've got questions towards the end, I'm going to grab them, ask for comments, and bring them up. I'd like to welcome to the stage Tuna. Tuna, welcome. Welcome to the panel.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, buddy. Listen, Linda is also with us. Hey, Linda.
Hey there.
Flinger, Tree Hugger, and Steph. What's going on, guys? How are you?
Good.
How are you?
Everybody. Good.
Joe Moser,
tired,
subscriber.
I made a special effort. So
I'm glad. I am so glad. Guys, we're going to do a round robin here. Let's just kick this off here. Fear is a big part of addiction recovery, mental health recovery. So I'm going to ask the big, ugly question here right up front. We'll give everybody a couple minutes or so. We'll start with Tuna, who is to my right. And I'm going to say, what is your relationship with fear? What does it look like in recovery? And if you want to say how it's changed over time, that's cool too. So first question is, what has your relationship with fear looked like in recovery? Tuna, I'm going to go to you.
Well, fear was always something I thought I could control. And back when I was using, I thought I could control it with drugs and alcohol. But now I've come around to the fact that I'm powerless over fear, right? Fear is just a feeling. It's something I observe. It's something I manage through talking to others and talking to my community and my small network. And, that's how I manage it these days. I don't manage it through substances anymore.
Has it changed over time, Tuna? Has your relationship with fear changed over time?
Just in the respect that I'm powerless over it now. You know, I've just went through some wicked lifey stuff, and I had a lot of fear of the unknown, and I had to put a lot of faith in my higher power. To be honest, I really had a strained relationship with God for the past 3 years, and I'm coming around to the fact that He may be instituting some blessings in my life, and maybe carrying me through this.
Love that. Thank you so much, Tuna. Linda, what about you? What's your relationship
Well,
been with fear in recovery?
it's quite interesting actually. I since I'm such a worrywart and I'm always overthinking everything, I have a lot of stuff going on right now. I worry about my dad who's where you are and I'm here and he's 87 and I fear that I'm not going to see him again ever, and which unfortunately is probably going to be the case. And it is really hard to deal with, but I do feel that in my sobriety that I am dealing a lot better with fear.
Hmm.
I am learning to accept things for what they are, and if I can't do anything about it, what good does it do me to be upset and worried about it if I can't do anything about it? It I mean, does that make sense? I can't fear something that I can't control. I don't know. That's the way I feel about it.
I
You know.
understand totally. I think it's really great. Thank you, Linda. That's great. Flinger, we're going to go to you. What does your relationship with fear look like in recovery?
Well, I'm fairly new to recovery. I have 19 months now clean, so I'm learning. I'm learning what to do about fear and to call it out. In the past, it's something I avoided as much as I could. That was, what the substances were for, was to try and avoid it. And I found lately here that I've been like trying to disguise it, say it's other things, say it's procrastinating or I'm too lazy, but really it's boiling down to fear, that I'm afraid to do that step work or afraid to face things. And so for me right now, I'm working on just acknowledging that, it's fear and I'm afraid.
I love that. I love that. Just you're calling it out. I love that. That's so great. Tree hugger, going to you, Kelly. What say you about fear?
Oh, I hope I can come up with something coherent. I'd say fear probably was the underpinning kind of demon in everything that started and fueled my addiction. I started with a diagnosis of panic disorder, but what it all came down to is in recovery is radical acceptance, and I think that for me that's been the key recently, and but not just the words. I really for the first time am going digging deeper
Mm.
to really being soft on myself but being harder on myself to try and figure out where those fears come from, and trying to sit with them and change my own behaviors. So hopefully that was coherent.
Very much so. Very much so. I feel very similar to you. Steph, what about you? What does your relationship with fear look like in recovery? Steph, you with us? You're on mute.
Oh my God, I was talking and I was on mute. Sorry about that.
I thought you were just afraid.
No, I had a little bout of vertigo today, but I'm okay now. Okay. Fear, sober, fear, recovery. Fear has been a big part of my life, actually. Anxiety, OCD. I find that fear in recovery for me right now is I'm working on some things because of my anxiety and my panic disorders. So that's a big struggle for me, but it's a lot healthier than it was, put it that way. But I can't say that I don't have fears. And the fears I don't think have anything to do with my addiction. I think it's more my anxiety. But I'm working on that with my therapist. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry.
I love it. No, I love it. This is all resonating with me. Faye, what say you about fear? What does your relationship with fear look like in recovery, and how has it changed over time?
In recovery, I've had to do things differently, right? Because now I'm facing a lot more things than I might have previously. I'm going to go with one of the things Tree Hugger said, and that is radical acceptance, which helps me in all aspects of my life. But I make a plan. I do baby steps. Whatever will be, will be. I kind of accept the unknown. I have faith that however things turn out, it's going to be better than I could have imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I've had bad days before. Certainly, I mean, for the love of God, I drove a car through a Papagino's restaurant. So, stuff has happened, right? So we're going to get through all the things. It's just a matter of getting through them. And we learn and grow as we do. And by the way, I was sober when that happened, just so you know.
Well, that's some fear. That's some fear right there. Can you imagine if it would have been a round table? That's all I'm saying.
It was a 78 Delta 88, by the way. It was a beast.
Wow. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that is a beast.
All right. Jeannie, to you, what does your relationship with fear look like in recovery, and how has it changed over time?
Anna knows me a little bit, I think. I was human trafficked and brought it back into my addiction. I don't know. I'm allowed to say that on here.
No.
Okay. But now you know. It's not funny, but I'm trying to learn the lingo on TikTok. But yeah, I was trafficked and brought me back. It's just it's beverage. And I relapsed because of being trafficked.
How has fear played a role in that?
It just made me relapse.
Good. Thank you. It's good.
And I've never met you. Thank you for getting my name right. That was
welcome.
amazing. Nobody ever does.
You're welcome.
What is your name?
So we're going to next question here.
No,
the next question going to Tuna is, what are some subtle ways that you've caught yourself numbing out? Because we were talking a little bit about numbing out over the period of time. Like sometimes when people have fight or flight, fawn or freeze, which are usually the 4 different things that happen. And many times you just numb out. And sometimes it's a protection mechanism. We were talking about trauma last week. So do you find yourself ever numbing out, or any of these 4 things like fight, flight, freeze, fawn? Do you do any of those?
Well, an interesting thing about me is with my PTSD, I had a PET scan done of my brain, and my amygdala doesn't function, so I don't have fight or flight. So you know, I I honestly I used to be one to overreact and fight a lot when I faced fear. The EMDR therapy I went through calmed that down a lot for me. I wasn't so reactive to situations, and it had been a number of years up until this last week when I was triggered again, and you know I've caught myself this past week kind of retreating into myself and isolating, um, physically isolating, but socially not so much. But definitely physically isolating. It that's what I'm known to do. I didn't get stuck in it for long this week. I mean, I feel pretty impressed that I pulled myself together within 3 days and got myself into a new situation. Um, but generally, I mean, nowadays when fear hits, I try to pour myself into other things. You know, like I usually only do one meeting a week, and you know, with all of this going on, I've actually agreed to go to a couple different meetings this week, which I haven't done in forever. So I'm trying to move a muscle, change a thought. I'm trying to get outside myself and not succumb to that fear so much anymore.
That's really good advice. I love that.
Yeah.
Linda, what say you?
That's a hard one for me. Fight or flight, is that the question?
Yeah. Do you find yourself numbing out when you're fear? Because a lot of people will say that they feel that they're numbing out when they have fear, and or they go into fight or flight, or they what they call fawn or freeze. I would say numbing out would be more of the freezing. Do you have experiences where any of those four things happen to you when you
I
under a lot of fear?
Yeah, if I start, I'm emotional, and I guess it's a flight and fight. It depends on what it is. I when I get mad, I cry, and when I'm sad, I cry. I just cry, cry, cry all the time. And so, even being sober, like I say, with all these worries, I lay in bed at night and think, oh God, this is, you think things, and then you're like, no, 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 stop. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that I run from any of it at all. I'd like to face it, but it is a lot easier when you're sober rather than when you're not.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Flinger, going to you. Numbing out, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Any of those things happen to you when you have a fear?
Definitely. Freeze for me, and avoidant, I try to run from it, ignore it, put my head in the sand, not face it. So the fear I experienced recently was working on my step work. I'm only on step 2, but I decided to get my book out and answer some questions this week, and it was so hard, thinking about past memories and just, I did what Linda's talking about. I started crying. I couldn't stop crying. So my tendency is to not want to do the things that I should to get through that. So I tried to think about, what do I need to do? So I picked up and I called my sponsor, and then I reached out to some friends in my sober community. I told some people about it. I asked, for their advice when you're working the steps, what do you do? I tend to want to isolate, like Tuna was talking about, and just crawl in my hole and be in my feelings. And so I tried really hard not to do that this time. And that stuff is so hard. I want to do the opposite of what I need to do to get through it, And I find I really have to make myself. And I prayed about it too, and that's not, it should be my first response to those kind of things. And it's not, and I want it to be, but I have to remind myself, hey, go to your higher power and ask for some help. So I'm working on those things. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. I think it's so funny how we just will avoid the things that will work for us, right? It's interesting.
Yes.
That's really great share. Thank you. Tree hugger, what about you? Numbing out, fight, flight, freeze. What happens when you get really fearful?
It's kind of each of those in steps. With
I hope you went. You hit mute.
not being able to control when people I don't know are in my home. So, so like for instance, I'll give you an example. Like the carpet cleaner came this week, and he was like kind of not being respectful of my home and started spraying all this perfume stuff that I didn't want, and I have allergies. So first, okay, it is relevant. Trust me, hang in there.
I got it. No, I get
so, first was like complete rage. I mean, I was ready to just like snap, and then I was like, "You can't do that." So then I froze, and then I kind of was like fawning because I was thinking like he knew what was going on in my head. I mean, it gets crazy. PTSD, while it's still in your head, gets crazy. Yeah. And then I realized I just have to call this situation, get out of it, and go on with my day, distract myself, and get back to regulation. I mean, it's sad. In a way, it's sad that the best I can really do with fear is to limit the time that it affects me. So in my biggest triggers like that, I got it down to, an hour or two where I was just like, couldn't peel myself off the wall and was calling all my friends, telling them how horrible he was. And there was perfume in my house. And, but to me, it's real. It's real. And, but then I was okay. Now in the past, that would have taken me a week. So I don't know what you would call that. I guess that would be kind of fight or flight, I guess. But so my goal is to cut down the amount of time that it takes me to resolve it.
Love that.
I know that was a weird example.
No, I think that's a real, to be honest with you, I see that happening to me. So I've had a similar situation to that. That was really great. Steph, what about you? Fight, flight, freeze. What happens when you hit this fear, when you hit the fear wall?
I was just thinking of, actually, it just dawned on me that I handle fear now way better and much different than I did before I was clean. Although the fear's always been there with me, I used to be like, freeze and be erratic and just not in a healthy way handling it. Now I probably would, I freeze now, okay? And I try to rationalize what's going on. Sometimes I can retreat into my own little space and the thoughts are just going around and around until I need that little kick sometimes for somebody to be like, okay, stop doing that. But I handle it much better. I mean, nothing's 100% with me, but it's a lot better than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
I just think things out in my mind. I'll call someone, that's close to me and just, have them just talk to me and make me feel a little bit better about my situation that I'm talking about. But I don't know. I think I'm a lot better than I was.
I love that. I love you think it through. You think it through.
Yeah, I've become one of those thinking through things instead of acting out. I used to have a very bad temper.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Faye, I'm going to go to you. Fight, flight, freeze. What do you do? All of them? Fawn? What's your go-to when you have extreme fear?
Lord have mercy. Well, I want to second something Steph started to say, and that is that these panels are great because they get me to figure out what I'm doing, right?
Exactly.
And to think of new things to do.
Yes,
So,
me too.
I have a lot going on currently, and so I have caught myself avoiding tasks. And so what I do when I do that is I say, okay, you are allowed to do X, Y, or Z for a certain amount of time. Sometimes it'll be watching TV, which isn't something I do often, but I'll allow a certain amount of time to do that. Or I'll even try to do like a productive task, like bake something that's going to benefit me in the end too. So when I know that I'm trying to zone out, I try to zone out in a way that is fruitful.
Love it. You're a tasker. You come up with tasks that you're going to do.
Tasking has helped me get and stay sober for sure.
I love that. I love that. Kath, welcome back to the panel. What say you if you do you fight, freeze, fawn when you have extreme fear or fear comes into your life? How do you react to it? Gotta hit I muted you, so you just have to hit unmute. And if you guys have questions, you can go ahead and put it back. If you guys are a Recovered Life Plus subscriber and you want to come up on stage, or you're a subscriber here on TikTok, just put me in there and I'll bring you up. Kath, going to you.
Okay, we'll try. A little out of breath. We were just finishing fixing our tractor.
Okay.
It's running, so we're happy.
Love it.
So I would say I freeze. And sometimes I just totally block what's going on and just think of other things and sort of like forget what's really going on in my life. And then the other thing that I do is sometimes I just find other things to do, other things to keep me busy so I don't have to think about it.
So you're somebody who just forget, you're just like, I'm just going to deal with this later.
Right.
Yeah. That's great. Guys, we're talking about, let me reset the stage here, guys. We're talking about fear. We're talking about how do you handle fear in recovery without numbing out. I'd like to thank our panel for coming up here. If you're a Recovered Life Plus subscriber, please let us know. Put me in there and I'll go ahead and bring you up. Or if you're a subscriber here, and if I could just put you on mute, Kath, there's a lot of background here. I'm going to put you on mute real quick. Okay, we're going to go to the next question here. Let's get a little deeper here. Let's talk about relapse here, and it could even be mental health relapse. How dangerous is fear for you in recovery? Addiction recovery or mental health recovery, Tuna? Like, if you don't deal with fear and you, let's say, run from it, or you don't deal with it well, is this something that would take you out? Possibly. Is this, what's your relationship with that and recovery as far as a warning sign that it might take you to a place that you're not going to be great?
As far as alcohol and rugs, I don't believe it would take me out. Over the past week, I haven't had one thought of returning to rugs or alcohol. So I'm very proud of myself for that. But as far as the mental health side of things, I was you know, I faced fear and I responded badly to it. I had an instant trauma response. I responded extremely poorly to it, but I recognize I was in a trauma response when I did, and but that put me as a person at risk. So, you know, that could have, if I hadn't really tried to think things through, I realized that could have put me in jeopardy for, you know, mental health relapse, exposure to criminal, uh, uh, you know, downfalls. You know, the one thing I always said is I'll never go back to jail. I'll never go back to prison. And, you know, this is the closest I've come in 14 years. And it literally, it scared the pants off me. So, I have to reevaluate my treatment, methods. You know, I have to talk with my therapist tomorrow about it. Because maybe I need to do something different as far as my mental health treatment. Because if I don't deal with this fear head on and you know, talk about it in therapy, and you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Right? I'm confident it won't lead to a relapse of drugs or alcohol, but I'd like not to experience a PTSD response again. But there's no guarantees on that, right? Because I know me and I know my body, and you know, so it very well could happen. But I want to minimize that chance, and I'm going to do everything in my power through therapy and meetings and whatever I have to do to try to minimize that risk.
So you feel much more vulnerable on a mental health relapse than you would necessarily in an addiction relapse.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. You know, there is no reason to relapse and use drugs or alcohol. I can't think of one. I mean, I've experienced loss of my parents through my addiction, or through my sobriety. You know, I've experienced the loss of this relationship. I've experienced some pretty good losses. You know, this isn't the first relationship I've suffered a loss from. So, I can't think of a valid excuse to return to use. But the mental health aspect is definitely, it's created a lot of thoughts within me that I have to address.
Love it. Sorry for the notification that went off, guys. Linda, what say you? What say you about this?
I'm with Tuna. Although my sobriety is still very new, I haven't had a real trauma yet. So, you know, most people would say, well, you just wait and see. But as far as, no, it would be mental health. It has to be, because it's just not, the other is just not an option for me. You know, I rely on myself, and, you know, I've got people who love me and rely on me, and I don't want to let myself down, and I don't want to let them down. And
yes,
it would totally be mental for me. You know, God forbid something terrible happens. I just don't have the desire. I just don't want to. It just doesn't even sound good. You know, and I hope that doesn't sound too, how would you say, cocky or whatever. No. But
I mean, I think it's honest. I mean, we're just being honest here, right, guys? Like, we're being honest about this, because if we're not honest about it, how do we really help other people, right? So if that's your experience, other people will I've known that other people will have that experience as well. So I think that's great. So we've had two people here that say never again with the rugs and alcohol. And for those of you joining us on Facebook and YouTube and Recovered Live TV, on TikTok, we're not allowed to say the D word, so we say the R word instead. But I like that comment, Linda. I think it's very honest.
Yeah, just Yep. I just don't. I was ready anyway. So, how could I didn't want to anyways. I wanted to finish it. I wanted to be done. So
yeah,
I have no desire to start again.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Flinger, what say you about this? Sorry, I'm trying to turn these notifications off.
That's okay. I do have a fear of relapse. I agree with both Tuna and Linda in that my mindset today is that I don't ever want to go back out.
Mm-hmm.
And the obsession has been removed, but I'm fearful of, the people I hear that have significant clean time and have gone back out. There was just somebody last week in one of my meetings that had 11 years, and that really scares me. So I'm just now trying to take suggestions of what I hear others say, that you've got to, keep doing the work. And one of those suggestions is to build community. So I've been, trying to do that. This is really hard for me. I hate getting up and talking in front of people, but I'm doing these kind of things because I know the community is important and I want to be a part of it.
It is.
So I'm just taking suggestions of things, even though I don't want to today. I don't know what tomorrow will be like. So I want to do the things that today that will maybe make tomorrow, I'll be ready.
Love it. I love that. Thank you. Tree Hugger, going to you.
One day at a time. Who knows? I don't know. I can only do what I can do today.
Right.
I put up the protections and the obstacles, but the only thing I've realized is add more joy, add more joy, add more joy, add more joy. And as long as I do that, I seem to be okay.
Love it. It's great.
And sometimes the simple things just make it easier and make it better. I don't really spend time thinking about protecting myself from things anymore. I really finally am in a place where I'm like the next 24 hours, like I want to be able to go back to my therapist, and when he, pokes the bear and asks me, how are you spending your time? That I actually don't have to just, shake in my boots, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And I think that's the only thing I can do to maybe stay safe.
Good advice. Steph, what say you?
What's the question again, Damien? I'm sorry.
That is a good question. Now I've lost track of the question. Thanks, Steph.
I did too.
Thanks, Steph. What was the question? We've gone so deep here. Wasn't it? Wait. What was it? Will it cause a relapse for you? I'm just kidding, Steph. Will it cause a relapse for you, or a mental health relapse? Do you fear that? Will fear take you there?
Okay. I don't feel that fear will take me there. A traumatic thing got me into the mess that I was in 10 years ago, losing my child. And 2 years after I got clean, I lost my mom. And I thought, oh my God, how am I going to but I never really had the thought to relapse. That just wasn't in my mind. I have to say that probably mental health, and I can't even say, that mental health will bring me to relapse either. I don't want to go there. I think about all the traumatic shit that I went through, And, I'm a lot older now, and it's like, I'm at that age. This is me personally, where I just want to feel, and I am feeling like 100% better. And I just want to enjoy the rest of my time here on this earth. I mean, I have my thing with my daughter, who I haven't spoken to in 15 years. And I've kind of come to the realization, as much as I say that it hurts me, but it's been 15 years. Well, it's been 5 years and I'm still here, not, relapsing. And, as much as it bothers me and it hurts me, and I've done everything that I could possibly do, within my control, I have to just say, listen, this is what it is. And hopefully before I leave this earth, I will have my relationship back with her. But if I don't, there's nothing I can do about it. It's the ball's in her court. So I kind of like try to simplify things in my life now, where I used to be chaotic and everything was like craziness. So I promised myself that I'm going to make things much more simpler for myself. Do I have little issues here and there? Yes. And I'm aware of them. And that's the key for me, is that when I'm aware of it, I have the tools to deal with it. Could I become a little complacent sometimes? Yeah. But I think with my community and talking and my groups, my meetings, and this community, it helps tremendously. Absolutely, like, so much.
Love this. We've heard from almost everybody here. It's interesting, the last couple. It's kind of like, I've just decided that relapse isn't an option, even if I'm fearful. I love that.
Yes.
Love
right.
that.
Exactly.
Faye,
And,
what's... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that they use, they say, like, don't think about tomorrow, today. And then, but yes, I do, one day at a time. But I have this mindset that, no, this is just not, this can't happen. And I'm going to do everything that I can to make it not happen.
I love that. Faye, what about you? Would relapse cause, would fear cause a relapse or mental health? Do you ever, is that an option for you when you get fearful? Is that where you go to?
Well, I'm going to add another little layer to this, just because I want to talk about halfway, 6 months into my sobriety, I found myself consuming way too much refined sugar. Mm-hmm. And it was starting to become what I felt like would be a health issue. So I had to stop that. And so I'm working on that currently. But what's funny is that when I would feel stressed, I would find myself having images of gummy bears in my head, right? So I was literally craving freaking gummy bears.
Yes.
But that has since calmed down. And then I discovered that I was craving chocolate, even though I thought I was being a good girl by having a little bit of dark chocolate every day. Just because I was craving it made me say, you don't come back in the house again. You don't get to come in here. So instead, you want to laugh, really? I'm eating prunes. Okay. Welcome to my world. Prunes.
You went there.
But anyhow, I had to go there, man. Anything for health. And by the way, ladies, prunes are really good for your bone health. So have a prune.
But Faye, this could be your bottom. This could be your bottom right now.
The prunes, that's it. They're going to take me out. But what I want to say is that I have a little saying that I say to myself, and that is that I love my liver way more than I miss alcohol.
Oh, I love that.
Nice one.
All right. I love this.
But I'm very careful. Do not consume more than 2 prunes.
I love it. I love it. Kath, I'm going to go to you and then Cecil. Kath, would fear ever take you out? Do you ever see, is addiction or a mental health relapse a option when you get very fearful? Is that where you go? You're on mute, Kath. Oh, there you go.
There it is. I got it. No, definitely not. I think I've sort of decided a long time ago that the last place I'm going to do is to go back to drinking. or rugs. And the mental health part too, the different things that I went through. I don't think fear would take me there. But reevaluating recently, though, I was just talking to someone today, and she was just baking, and she was using an alcoholic beverage to cook with. And she said normally she would just dump it out. Well, she saved it and saved it for later and drank it and started all over again. God bless her, she's back again, but it sort of sparked something in me. I was away from AA for a few years and just getting back into it again. And I'm remembering things like from the old timers. They would say, your alcoholism is out there in the parking lot doing push-ups while you're in a meeting. And I'm just taking things more seriously again. Because who's to say that something someday just without thinking, I don't want to go there. So, but for the longest time, picking up something has not been an option.
Love that. Thank you. Cecil, welcome to the panel. Cecil, has fear ever gotten you to a point where you think about, is it a motivator? Like, I'm going to drink or use, or maybe even go to a place that you have a mental health relapse because of fear? How's that played into your recovery?
So, I just recently did a post on fear, but I think fear for anybody, the fear of change, the fear of, especially the fear of change, because I think we all get complacent and we get comfortable where we're at.
You feel a little bit far. You sound a little bit far away. I don't know if there's something with your mic, but.
Now, let me try now.
Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me any better now?
A little bit better,
so
yeah.
I think fear on its own can lead to relapse. Do I think it would lead to relapse for me? I don't think so. Today it would. I think at one point it could have. Just the fear of changing, the fear of, especially the fear of change. Because I'm a person that I get pretty comfortable, and I can be comfortable in a big pile of crap, and like my little crap pile, and just the fear of change will keep me there. So, I'm along those lines. I think fear for anybody, if you're unwilling to do the things to keep progressing in your recovery and change, because recovery is ever changing, So I think it could lead to that. I don't think it would for me personally these days, because I have a pretty good core group of people that I can go to, and I've learned to step through that fear and just do the hard thing, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Absolutely does. Thank you so much. I love that. I love it here that everybody here on this panel kind of has made a decision. It's like, no matter what, I'm not going to drink and use. And I think that is a very good, I think that's a really good thing personally, like no matter what, this isn't the option for it. This isn't the solution for it. And I love that, because I know that everybody here in the panel here has had to go through their own personal journey to get there, right? To make that decision. So that's amazing. I'm going to do a really quick one here, less than a minute with everybody. We'll just go down the row here. And then I want to open it up. If anybody has a question, I just want to reset it. We're talking about fear tonight, fear, addiction recovery, mental health recovery. What's the panel's experience with fear? This is Recovered Life Plus members have joined us here, TikTok subscribers have joined us here. So welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all the people that are joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and Recovered Life TV on Substack. Good to see everybody there as well. If you have a question, you can go ahead and put it in. I'll be looking at the comments now. Real quick, though, I want to talk about the solution here. I'm going to go to YouTube. Now, let's do quick little shares all the way around. What is your go-to tool when you find yourself in fear? What's the one thing that you go for that works almost every time that you found in your recovery?
Call for support. Call somebody for support. Reach out to my sponsor or my network. I have a great support system here on TikTok. I made a lot of good friends. And that's what I did this last time around. I just reached out and started talking to people, and they helped me through it.
Okay, we got communication as one of them. Reach out and don't isolate. Communicate. That's what Tuna's saying. Linda, what about you? If you feel fears coming on, what is your go-to tool in recovery?
Well, I don't want to steal it from Tuna, but that's exactly what I would do. The same
Yeah.
exact thing.
Wow. Okay.
Reach out to one of my kids or my sponsor, or go to a meeting and share. It makes me feel good. Anything like that.
Love that. Love that. Flinger, to you.
Same, definitely support. Sometimes the phone feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, but after I reach out, I feel so much better. And prayer, that's not always my first go-to, but I wish I was better about that, because I always feel better after that too.
Right. Yeah. Man, it's okay. So with so far 3 shares here real quick in the lightning round. All 3 said that community and reaching out and connection helps in battling fear. Tree hugger, what say you?
Mine is not going to be probably politically correct, but with my pattern, which I know is just trying to peel myself off the ceiling, my response has to be get rid of the physiological effects, the adrenaline. So a lot of times I'll get in my car and just blast some punk rock, or get my guitar out, and I will literally just lash out to the wall, and it gets me out of it. Talking to somebody else would not be fair, because it's just all curse words, but it just works out that and I do it until I come down.
I love that.
So not very pretty, but
no, I love this. I have done this before too. You don't keep it inside, is what you're saying, Tree Hero. You just put it all out there.
I do.
I love it.
And yes, I do have speeding tickets.
That'll give you even more fear. Steph, what about you? What's your go-to thing if you feel that you're like, oh man, I'm really in fear?
Yeah, I have to agree with everybody with reaching out. I have one person that I've known for years, and poor guy, I mean, he hears all of my rants and fears, but that is like the number one thing, is reaching out to somebody. Support system is very important. My therapist is on speed dial. No, I'm only kidding. And like Tree Hugger said, yeah, music jamming is like, I get into music. I love music, and that helps me also. And praying.
I love that. So we have a little bit of rage. Somebody said we need a Recovered Life rage room. I don't know. Maybe I'll set that up, virtual rage room. A little escapism. I love that. Faye, what about you?
Well, until I found you and your lovely group here that you have cultivated so wonderfully, Damon.
Thank you.
I must say. And I love coffee too, by the way. I've had a relatively solitary sobriety. So I've been sober since May of 2024, and I kind of have done it on my own. And so my go-to is my username, Bob Marley. Bob Marley fixes everything. Don't worry about a thing.
That's
right.
right.
Every little thing's going to be all right.
Amen.
And that's the truth.
I love that. I love it. Okay, this is getting interesting. Kath, what about you? What's your number one go-to thing that will get you out of fear if you feel immobilized?
It always has been my higher power. My first thought is prayer. And the same way I got here, God, please help me. That's my first go-to. And then usually with that, then things pop up. It's not the magic trash can, but the situations happen, or somebody will call me, and that's another thing, is reaching out to other people. But very first is my higher power, and then I go with the flow.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Man, we got a lot. This is so great, the panels, because we get all different kinds of solutions here. Cecil, what about you? You find yourself immobilized by fear. What's your go-to thing to get you out?
So I kind of have a three-pronged approach to this. Community, like Tina and several other people have talked about. I go to that core group. I try to get it out there and talk about it. The power of prayer for me is big. Turning it over to my higher power. I find that a lot of times I can turn something over to my higher power, and maybe not, it's not like a flash of lightning, but the solution comes to me. And then being able to just step through that fear, knowing that whatever it was, I've made a lot bigger than it actually is. And I usually feel really good about myself after I've stepped through that fear. I have a big fear of change, y'all. Like I said earlier, I'll sit in my little pile of crap until the cows come home if I let fear run the show. So.
Love it.
Thanks for having me on the panel. I appreciate it.
Of course. Big part of the community. I love it. So we had spirituality, we had community, we had connection, we had rage rooms, we had Bob Marley, we had punk rock. We had everything here. I love that. I have to share one real quick that when I was thinking about this, I said to myself, what is the one thing? And I always talk about, like, emotional sobriety is what I call clear thinking, right? And I would find myself, as the years that I've gotten sober, is that I think a little bit more clearly. I'm somebody, like, lately I've had a lot of fear. It's come out of nowhere. And I know a lot of people here there's just fear is in the air right now. And I will pick it up sometimes from other people. And lately I've been saying, is this mine, or is this somebody else? Is this the news's? Is this mine? Is this somebody else's? Because I'll talk to somebody of fear, and then I'll feel. And so I've been asking a question lately: is this mine? Does this belong? Does this fear belong to me, or is this somebody else's that I'm holding on to? And I have to tell you, that's been huge. And lately, that's been really huge, because a lot of times I'm like, oh, this doesn't belong to me. And then the next thing that I've been doing over years is I realized there used to be a saying in 12-step rooms: there are no more big deals. There are no more big deals, right? And, like, once you get sober, there are no more big deals. Now, I don't necessarily believe that in my heart of hearts. I know there are big deals. People die, people get sick, but really bad things happen to good people. Like, and I know that there are things that happen to us in recovery, but a lot of the times, I think for me, it's false evidence appearing real. I will feel sometimes I have to ask myself, is this really a big deal? Or who thinks this is a big deal? Do I really think this is a big deal? Or can I handle this with God's help? Is this really a big deal? Or is this something I even really have to worry about? Is this just life happening and I'm going through it at this point? And this has been huge for me, because many times I feel compelled that I have to take action, and really I don't have to take any action. I don't have to do anything. I just have to wait it out. It will go away. I have to do all the things that people said here, except for the Bob Marley, but I'm going to try that. So I just want to add that in. I'm going to open it up real quick. Last comments on fear. Does anybody want to add anything, or does anybody in the chat have a question about fear? I'm just going to open this up. Joint discussion.
I also wanted to say that sometimes I just cry on purpose. I literally make myself cry. Like Faye was it Faye that was talking about traffic tickets? Well, I go take a bath, so if I'm not awake the next morning, then I probably sunk under there. And I also sing that song, that song that goes, you had a bad day, you're taking one down.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I love that song. I love that song. So those are a couple more things that I will do sometimes.
I'd like to say that I used to have panic attacks all the time. And it was a real big struggle. I had a lot of phobias. And then I just kind of like faced fear in its face. Like, what do you have to fear but fear itself, really? And I just I was able to recognize my body getting that anxiety spike and shut it right down. And I honestly haven't had a panic attack I'll get nervous, but I want to say decades. I just shut it down.
Somebody in the chat said, does anybody use fear as a motivator?
I have
It
to say
depends. I have.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna, well, I was just going to say real quick that I've noticed that since I've been sober, I do react differently to fear, and I feel like, yeah, it makes me stronger. You know, like what doesn't, you know, that song makes you stronger.
Right.
That's very true. It does make you stronger. And even though I purposely get emotional, I don't get as emotional as I was getting when I was drinking. So, yeah.
I think something that is important too is to look back on our successes, and think about things that I have overcome, the fears that I have already faced. And, it gives me a little encouragement to think, well, I could do this too, this new fear or whatever it is I'm facing.
Yep. That's good.
I use fear as a motivator a lot. I use it as a lot. And sometimes I will even put myself in situations, especially kind of like kind of early recovery, to motivate me. But I think also too, one of the things you have to be careful about, in my opinion, with doing that is you start to label what the fear means. So if you say, well, I'm going to get off my ass and you're motivated, let's say, to make more money because you have a fear that you won't have it or won't have your needs met. What can happen is you can trick yourself that things will come up and you then label it incorrectly. And that's where I found that most of the problems that I've had in my sobriety is that I will have fear and I'll label it that it means this. And it doesn't necessarily mean that. But I've talked myself into that. And I found that that's unhealthy sometimes.
I had a situation that arose like was it 2 months ago, and I swear the universe just does its job. And that week Damon said, I'm giving away a week of coaching, and I took it, I ran with it, and that fear, he helped me with that fear, helped me to rationalize the situation that I was upon. And, between the fear and the coaching, yes, it really pushed me to figure it out. And at the end, things so far so good.
Massive action will help.
I would say I definitely am. I like to enjoy my life. So no, I do not use fear as a motivator. But I would also say that maybe, I don't know. I think my coffee's wearing off. I think I'll just give up the mic. Yeah, I'm fading.
You're so funny, tree hugger.
It is. Yeah, I'm too tired. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I suppose there's healthy fears in life that motivate us to, gain successes in our life, right? It's not unhealthy fear. It's it's fear that we place upon ourselves to motivate us to succeed in careers, in personal relationships, financially, otherwise. I mean, there are those fears, and I consider those healthy fears.
Right, exactly.
I love that. I love that. Look, there is fear in recovery, guys. Just to end it with this, there is fear in recovery. And I don't know anybody who is in addiction recovery or mental health recovery that does not have had fear or major things happen that have caused fear. And I have seen a lot of people will be so triggered by fear that they just the here and now is unacceptable for them, right? And I've seen this, and I've seen I have been in that position too, you know, and I would say hold on if anybody is in that situation. Is anybody real quick to end this? Is there anybody in here that felt like fear had ruined their life and really quick wants to do like a quick 30 seconds or a minute here? And they feel that they're on the other side of this now. Because I think a lot of people, especially in early recovery that have fear, think, well, this is just going to be my whole sobriety.
So, Damon, you know, early on, I think fear kept me in my addiction. It definitely kept me from getting treatment for my mental illness. I don't even know what I was so fearful of now, but I think part of it was that I was fearful that I wouldn't be able to handle the emotions because I had stifled all my emotions, whether those were sad emotions or happy emotions or anything, with alcohol and rugs. Sorry. So I think there was a real fear that how am I going to get through how am I going to get through life? How am I going to do that without that? And it kept me there for a long time. And then the fear, and this is going to sound really unreal, but the fear of just admitting to myself finally that I had a problem. Other people diagnosed me with a problem for 25 years, and I didn't believe them. And there was a real fear of that if I admit it, then they're going to be right, and I'm going to be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong. I want to be a normal drinker. I want to be a normal. I want to be able to go out with the people I perceived as being normal, and it kept me there for a long time. I think I'm thankful for my life now, and I think I have an amazing recovery. But who knows if I would have started earlier, where that would have been. And I don't go there either because it is what it is nowadays. So, but that's for me. The whole fear thing has controlled me for most of my life. And I think the biggest thing I've learned is just to do it anyway. And it's always what I make that mountain is usually a molehill. It's not the mountain I make it out to be.
I love that. Guys, this has been an amazing panel.
Oh, God.
Oh, go, Tuna. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like Cecil, fear kept me in my addiction, right? I used to not feel feelings. I used to stuff that fear down deep, and it kept me in active addiction for 9 years. And, you know, when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and the pain of getting better was less than staying in addiction. That's when I finally took that leap of faith and decided to get into recovery.
Love that. Guys, this has been such an amazing panel. Thank you guys for everybody that came up. Tuna, thank you. I know you were going through a lot, and for you to come up tonight and share, I really appreciate you. It helped a lot of people. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you coming on. Just want to acknowledge you. Linda, thank you. We're celebrating Linda. Linda has been sober here. She got sober here. We knew Linda when she wasn't sober. Now she is sober, and it's been 6 months. So tomorrow, guys, I want everybody to join us because we're gonna have a little celebration for Linda. Thank you, Linda, for coming up. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you. 6 months, guys. That's amazing. Flinger, thank you so much. Wow, you guys, your shares are amazing, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you for letting me be a part of it, Damon.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tree Hugger, you knocked it out of the park with the punk rock and the speeding tickets. This is a new coping mechanism for me. Thank you. All right, Steph, thank
It's
you so
terrible.
much for coming up.
Thank you.
Is it all right if I announce your episode, Steph?
Yes.
Okay, so
Sure,
Steph,
go
guys,
ahead.
just Steph told her story on how I did it, which is a part of Recovered Life. If you have over a year of sobriety, she has more, but a year of continuous sobriety from drugs and alcohol, you can tell your story by clicking the link in the bio. It says tell your story, or go to recoveredlife.tv. There's a tab there. She told her story. It's amazing. Steph is an amazing person. Thank you for coming up, Steph. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
thank you. I'm
Thank you. And that's going to be
fearless
out next week, guys. Faye, thank you so much. Faye always comes in and shares amazing things. And I loved it. And Bob Marley, that's a new one for me, Faye. I
Can
got
I
to
just
try
say
the
real
Bob
quick?
Marley.
Thank you for helping me to overcome my fear of public speaking.
I love it. See, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. It was even better, right?
That's right.
I love that. I love it. Thank you, Faye. I appreciate you. Kath, thank you for coming up. I love Kath because I had a similar experience to Kath. Was in a group, went out of a group, came back, still sober, all that stuff like Kath. And I really appreciate you, Kath. You always share great stuff and a lot of great perspective on long-term sobriety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming up. And my buddy Cecil, if you haven't seen Cecil's episode on recoveredlife.tv, please do. Amazing. Cecil, you're a really inspiring person. I really look up to you, and thank you for coming up and sharing tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, Damon.
Thank you,
I'm glad I
guys.
caught you tonight.
So glad that you're able to come up, guys. Final thoughts here on fear. And guys, just to let you know, all these people that are on stage, these are all Recovered Life Plus subscribers, are all paid subscribers on Recovered Life TV. So you can feel free to join. It's amazing. We got a lot of stuff on there. This is Trauma Month. I'm going to let everybody know it's Trauma Month. And for all of you Recovered Life Plus subscribers, if you don't have to be a Plus subscriber to join the community, just click the link in the bio or go to recoveredlife.tv. And you can do it. Thank you guys for coming up. I appreciate everybody. Next Thursday, we're going to have another one of these. It's just a way for the group to be able to get together. And then we're going to add some private meetings for the Plus subscribers. So join the community. It's free to join the community. Guys, I'll put the replay on this coming up soon. We got a bunch of stuff coming out on Recovered Life TV. Final thoughts here. I wanted to do fear because it's Trauma Month. And a lot of times people will just get totally immobilized by fear. And people know that I'm a coach here, that I coach people, and I've coached some of the people in Recovered Life Plus or people that come in here. And most of the reasons why people will tell me is that they've decided to kind of like get accountability or coaching is because they are immobilized in fear. And a lot of people here that come in will hear that you don't want to get sober or you don't want to do anything in your sobriety, even though you're miserable, because you are in fear. And fear is very lonely and it's very isolated. And fear will tell you not to reach out to other people and not to take action. It will tell you a lot. And that's why I put numbing out in there. And I want to throw, we heard so many good things on this panel. Amazing ways that people cope with fear and handle and manage fear or turn their fear over, which is even better. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I have learned over the decades of being sober. I've had crippling fear, crippling anxiety in sobriety and still had a really great recovered life. And one of the reasons why is I will always get to a point where I'll start taking massive action. And I want to challenge anybody in here that is immobilized. And you know what I'm talking about. You might be even in the hallway here listening to this, or you're listening to it in the replay because you're just immobilized. You just feel like I can't move left, I can't move right, I can't go backwards, I can't go forward. I'm just stuck in fear. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I've learned is that it's never as big of a deal as I think. And I always, what I do, which is a little bit of a mind tweak to myself, is I sometimes will pull out a piece of paper or I'll just sit and think about it for a moment. And I'll say, okay, look, what's the worst case scenario that's going to happen here? What's the absolute worst case scenario? And then I'll say, well, is this actually maybe not bad. Maybe this is an opportunity. Is this an opportunity? Could this be an opportunity in disguise as fear? What's the best thing that could happen out of this? Even though I'm not choosing for this to happen, what actually could be called forth because of this right now? These are very powerful questions. And what I always find is it's not ever as bad as I think it's going to be. And I've had a lot of things happen in recovery. It's never as bad as I think it's going to be. And many times, looking back on it now, the things that I was the most fearful of, and Cecil kind of mentioned this in here, after I took action on these things, they became way, way, way less of a big deal. And matter of fact, some of them, like Cecil mentioned, turned into opportunities. And I know that's great. Like you go, no, Damon, you don't understand. It's like, I'm dealing with this big health thing. Somebody passed away. It's the unfolding of it all, even though I would not want to repeat some of it. The experience, one, usually left me with something, maybe a tool, maybe a perspective, maybe an experience that prepped me for something else in my life. And this perspective is a game changer. Because if you look at it like that, man, I don't want to go through this, but are there gifts here? Is there something that I'm missing here? Are there opportunities here for me to grow? And by facing this instead of running away from it or freezing, is there an opportunity here? And I have to tell you, I'm going to share a situation which, you know, I do share my personal life, but I'm going to share a situation where I moved to LA and I was sober and I opened a business. And it was in the entertainment industry, and I found myself losing everything again in recovery. And I found myself, one of my clients said, look, you can stay in my RV. And I remember and I go, man, how did I get I took a big risk and it didn't work out. I played full out, but it didn't work out. And here I am sober, and I'm living in this guy's trailer, literally by the grace of God, literally from his good graces. And it was a temporary situation. But what I got out of that, I thought back, I was like, man, that was horrible time. But what I got out of that situation as an entrepreneur is I'm still here. Same thing happened in early recovery to me. Lost everything. And I know there's many people in here that are like, dude, that's nothing. I was on the street. People will be like, Damon, I was on the street for 10 years, or I was, couch surfing for 3 years or whatever. I'm just using it as a example here. Everybody has their own thing. But for me, I thought this is I have failed big. And it was me but I realized later it was like, no. I then later opened a business that was very successful. And I would not have done that if I known that the worst case scenario wasn't that bad. The worst case scenario, honestly, was not horrible. And I tell a lot of people here, and welcome Scott, who's coming in on Substack. I tell a lot of people here sometimes, do not, don't freak out if you lose a lot of stuff in early sobriety. Because I remember I would go to this meeting, and I lost, the girlfriend, the apartment, the job, because I was bartending at the time. I couldn't do that. I literally had nothing. I was staying in a friend's basement, literally. And barely. I mean, it was like not great. And I could barely just literally function. And I would go to this meeting, and they were all older men. They were all very successful. One was an entrepreneur, several entrepreneurs. There was a judge there. I mean, these guys all had things that they created. And I had like 3 months at the time. And every time I would come in, I go, well, I lost this. I can't keep my furniture. I never play. And they would applaud every time. And I was so pissed off. And then I realized, at the end, I go, man, do you guys not like me? Should I not come here anymore? And they're like, no, man, we love you. They said, we're applauding because this is God doing for you what you can't do for yourself. It's getting you out of your own way. And although you wouldn't have wished it, and we wish you were more comfortable, we know, because you keep showing up here and doing the work, that everything's going to be fine. If you can do the work and then in between stay sober long enough, things are going to change. And things did change. So just a message to everybody who is crippled by fear: it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You are going to be okay. And drinking and using or not taking care of your mental health isn't going to do a damn thing to make the fear go away. Matter of fact, it's going to make it a whole hell of a lot worse. Oh, excuse me. Thank you, Steph. This was a great panel. The replay here, guys, is going to be on Recovered Life TV. If you're wondering, how did all these people get on stage? How come they're all friends? What the hell's going on here? Damon, what is up here? I'm going to tell you, these guys are all Recovered Life TV members. And you can join for free, join the community. Many people just join for free. They're like, man, I'm getting a lot of value out of it. So thank you. And if you are a Recovered Life Plus subscriber here on TikTok, come next time, message me, let me know, join the community. We're having a hell of a time, aren't we, Faye? Has this not been fun? I love these panels. Private meetings are going to be next, guys. Not 12-step meetings, Recovered Life meetings. So I want to welcome everybody new here to the Recovered Life community. We have a ton of content. We got a bunch of stuff on trauma. We got a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff coming. You guys are going to go with me. I'm very nervous. I have a lot of fear, guys. I'm getting my Reiki certification this weekend. It's going to be fun. I'm taking you with me. You guys know I'm very into the energy stuff. We're doing more and more about that. I think you're going to go with me. You're going to go with me on this. So I'm going to post a lot of stuff at Recovered Life TV. So join over there. You can join for free. We also have a chat over. I think we're going on 400 pieces of long form content. That's a lot. And every day I see people coming in all around the country. Really, I'm going to tell you, all around the world, watching things on setting healthy boundaries. What happens if I have schizophrenia? What about bipolar disorder? What about BPD? How do I get rid of anxiety? How am I going to stay sober during Thanksgiving? All that stuff is there and more, and a live chat. So join us there, recoveredlife.tv. I'd like to thank everybody who's come in here and supported me. It does not go unnoticed. And I know a lot of people come in and times are tough right now and you can't support. And that's okay. I ask you to support by doing a prayer for me and for Recovered Life. We want to get this out. Our whole goal here is we want people to wake up and join the Awake and Aware Live community. We know you can do this. And if I have to be your cheerleader until you know that you're amazing, that's what I'm going to do. I'll stand right up here every friggin' day, and I will tell you that you are amazing and that you can do this. Because I know you can. You might have a belief that you can stay sober and have your best recovered life. I know you can do it. That's different. So I'm with you guys. The community's with you for as long as you understand, until you get to the place where you know you can do it. Thank you, guys. Love you so much. Thank you for all the friends that I've met in here. Thank you guys for your support. Join us at Recovered Life TV. We're going to keep this conversation going this month. I'm living my best recovered life. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Substack. Really appreciate you on YouTube and on Recovered Life TV on Facebook. So what we're going to do is we are going to shut the stream down, and you can see the replay. It will not be here. The replay will be on for Recovered Life Plus subscribers. Just join us at recoveredlife.tv. Thank you so much for all of your support. I appreciate you.
Hey, if you like this episode, think about supporting us by becoming a Recovered Life Plus member. At Recovered Life TV, we're not just delivering premium recovery resources, we're empowering you with the knowledge and tools that make a real difference in the quality of your recovery. By subscribing, you gain access to ad-free content, expert insights, exclusive video and audio segments, special projects, plus so much more, all while supporting our mission to spread the recovery message far and wide. Whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding or stay updated on the latest addiction and mental health recovery trends, Recovered Life Plus is for you. Subscribe now and start living your best recovered life. Just go to recoveredlife.tv and become a Plus member today.